Hello, lovely morning here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing the channel. If you're new to the channel, this is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. We do the best in football tactical analysis here, and then of course we talk about everything football exactly on the tactical board and also the cognitive stuff about the game. Yesterday, there were excellent Champions League games that went on. Arsenal went away to FC Porto. They weren't able to get a win that they wanted. Porto won by a goal to 0. We'll talk about the post-match tactical analysis of that game and how FC Porto are brilliant at what they did. And we'll do same for the Inter game that they played against Atletico de Madrid. Told you about Inter's exquisite automatisms that Simeone Inzaghi seemed to have imbibed in his players. Then we'll go on and talk about other stuff. We'll talk about FC Barcelona, Xavi, and then of course the game against Napoli. Victor Osimhen, of course, did come in and get an all-important goal in Naples. And then of course there was that game that went on, Dortmund versus FC PSV in there. Of course, yesterday there was Liverpool's game, big one against Luton in there. Another important game, Luton got a goal up. But then again, Liverpool and Anfield showed their mettle. And I'll link that to why it's important that Chelsea are very careful. Even though they are going to play at Wembley, they need to be very careful, very, very careful with the vociferous Liverpool fans. Chelsea really ought to be careful with the vociferous Liverpool fans because they tend to feed off the intensity from the Liverpool fans when they are in any stadium that they are in. Most especially, of course, at Anfield. But again, if they are going to be at Wembley, where they are going to get more tickets than Chelsea, then you're expecting that the Anfield fans are going to be extra vociferous than the Chelsea fans. But we'll wait to see how that final pans out. There's a lot to discuss on the world of sports. There's a lot about Chelsea Football Club. There's a lot about every other club here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I entreat you to pause the video, go back and subscribe to the channel and turn on notification. You should turn on notification because this is your best in terms of football analysis, everything that you want to know in the game. You get it best here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But let us get into the conversation now. First of all, International Milan played in that Champions League game very well. And I've told you several times that Inter Milan's biggest threat and biggest upside is the automatisms that they have in their three at the back system. And I think that's excellent. And the kind of job that Simeone Inzaghi has done. For everybody, if we spoke about Inzaghi as a family, it was essential about Filippo Inzaghi. He was excellent in his job that he did for Milan. Up top, scoring goals, being brilliant at everything that he did. But now again, in the world of football, his brother Simeone Inzaghi seems to be doing all the brilliant stuff. Simeone is one of the best coaches in the world now. Very complete in terms of control and across the tactical board. Every facet of the game, he is very, very excellent at what he does. Now, this is the little bit that a lot of people do not know. He went to play against Atletico de Madrid in a game where Atletico Madrid played in a 3-back just like him. He went into a 3-back with Bastoni at left-sided centre-back. There was Stefan De Vrij, and then there was Benjamin Pavard. And I think that the inclusion of Benjamin Pavard has been very, very important as well for the team. Now he can play a more defensive right-hand-sided side of his team anytime that he wants to play because he can have Pavard and Matteo Darmian if he wants to play as wing backs at some point in time. But in a game where he wants to have extra attacking bite in the game, then he goes with Darmian and then Denzel Dumfries, which is also equally very, very important in that regard. Now, when he had his back three, essentially, there are two wing backs, of course, if you are playing in a back three. And what that does to you is that you have two very excellent wing backs who are playing a very, very good game. Now, this is it. It is the exquisite use of Inter's wing backs that sets them apart from every other team in the Champions League this season. Now, Inter can start building with a 3-back like that. With the center backs, either of them on the ball. Usually, the central center back is in a fixed zone, is in a rigid zone. He doesn't move out of that zone. That's the zone that's supposed to be. One, it's supposed to be a shield for the goalkeeper, Jan Sommer, and it's supposed to provide an extra outlet when he wants to build up from the back. So the two center backs outside open up. Pavard, Damian open up. Now, the central center back is in that fixed zone in here. Sometimes, what he does, especially on the left hand side, Federico Di Marco moves very high and wide on the field, comes to play as a left winger, and now we have 3 players up top. So now it becomes Federico Di Marco, it becomes Marcos Thuram. But these two are the they sort of concentrate in central areas like that. And there's two in this build up. The two center backs are popping up. Now, what does it look like? It becomes a four, right? It becomes a four in build up. So the ball comes here, he gives the pass to Pavard. Pavard can now spread up to Bastoni, who has become more like a fullback. Then there is Matteo Damian, there is Denzel Dumfries in this area. Usually, when it comes to this area, and Antonio Conte tried something like this with Marcos Alonso, who was also slightly good in terms of build at some point in time when he was at Chelsea. Once it comes to the right hand side, either of them, he was receiving the ball where his back to the opponent's goal. He sent a cross-field pass, usually diagonally into central areas. For Inter, to central areas. For Chelsea, it used to be across the field of play to the next wing back to Victor Moses in this zone. But this time, it is to the middle of the park, so that Lautaro Martinez will use his hold-up play here. Once Lautaro uses hold-up play, there are excellent three extra midfielders in the middle of the park in Hakan Calhanoglu, Henrik Mkhitaryan, and then of course Nicolo Barella. Once Lautaro Martinez uses hold-up play, drops the ball here, of course he will pull runners to him into central areas like that. Atletico Madrid at this point in time have gone in for the very high press. They are pressing very, very high, and then Inter beated that press. Once they force Atletico Madrid to come into the press, Lautaro Martinez has pulled two extra CMs in the middle of the park. Now, there is Damian, there is DeMarco, who has pulled up one person in here. Then immediately Damian makes that pass, or Dumfries makes that pass, either of them, he makes the overlapping run in here. Now, they are going to beat Atletico Madrid. They've managed to progress the ball. They are beating into the numbers game in this area. Barella moves the two extra 8, do the rotational job. They get into the attacking spaces in here. Then it's a quick pass to Barella, who now finds it out, Mkhitaryan or Hakan Calhanoglu. Whilst your man, Marcus Thuram, is on his bike to wait for the cross to come. It's excellent. Everything that International Milan have been doing this season. I think they won 1-0 at the Giuseppe Meazza. They should have scored more. It's a game that they could have battered Atletico de Madrid. They prevented Atletico Madrid from getting a lot of the time on the ball, and it's an excellent game plan from Simeone Inzaghi. Wait to see. Atletico Madrid have not lost a game in the Champions League knockout stages since 1997 at the Wanda Metropolitano. Yeah, you hear that. So it sets up the tone. It sets up everything when it comes to going to play in there. Now, Atletico Madrid have an excellent home record. They are going to play against an Inter team that are almost near perfect, and they already have a lead. They are by a goal to 0. So wait to see how that goes. Now, Arsenal also yesterday, another very fascinating game to play against Porto at home. Arsenal went into this game with two things in mind, and I'll walk you through it quickly. Let me reposition the tactical. But again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, it's imperative that you pause the video now, go subscribe to the channel, and then turn on notifications, just so we can have very, very good footballing conversations here. My name is Fiifi-Manfred, and this is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So let's get into the conversation. Of course, Arsenal went into this game in a semblance of a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, nominally, and then Porto sat in a 4-2-3-1. Excellent at home. They knew that they were going to get openings, but they had to be very careful because Arsenal are very stubborn side. I've told you that if you've been following my work, I think that Arsenal are the best team in the world in terms of control, right? So if anybody wants to control games, Arsenal have it. But there's something with the Champions League that control isn't enough. It's the extra transitioning bit. It's the fact that teams like Madrid hinge so much on functional play, and it works for them, regardless of what you do in terms of positional play. Now, one of the things that Man City, for one, and I'm comparing it to Arsenal, have done very well is to have 2 box or 3 box defenders. That helps with their rest defense. So when they push up, they press you, they come to attack. They have Guardiola, Kanji, Diaz, either of the 3 centre backs that do an excellent job in their rest defense. They are very good box defenders. They are very good defenders 1v1 situations, and they help the team. Now, when you go to play against a Porto side at home, they're very stubborn. They need Arsenal to dominate play. Arsenal and Mikel Arteta were smart in bringing players like Chiriot in to help with height, to help with aggression, to help with the physical side of the game, because they knew that the game could go physical. Very important. And of course, in the middle of the park, the Rice, Odegaard, and then Kai Havertz midfield share was important, because Kai's frame will help up top in terms of hold-out play, and they help dictate the pace of the game with Saka, Trossard, and then Gabriel Martinelli also making the front row, which is very good. Now, the problem Arsenal faced away at Porto is the fact that the Porto team also dwell on the home. At the Stadio Dragao, it's difficult for you to beat FC Porto, especially if they want to make the game transitional. And it was crystal clear Everton football that Gonzalez, the manager, Gonzalez, played against Arsenal. Goal route one every day when they get a ball from the back. They are very, very tall, lanky. They know that Arsenal will come in and press with their front three. They do a very good job at that. Now, what they do is that they push men forward. They use the very good ball playing ability, long ball ability of Pepe to go route one. Now, as the goal route one, their goal is to bring the area balls in Arsenal's area. And just like how Newcastle were playing, go long and bring the second balls here, and then transit. Now, it is in the same vein that they got that goal. Long, won the second ball here, then a quick one-time shot. And I think that was generally the whole game. Arsenal could manage the game, hold up the game and everything. But there was another tactic that Gonzalez used for Porto. And it's the fact that consistently they were conceding fouls. They wanted to take the sting out of Arsenal's side anytime that they were in control of the game. Don't wait for Arsenal to enjoy the game and string passes together and get into their very good momentum. Cause fouls, whatever the case may be. It should be a red card, but then go in with tactical fouls, and it was important. And it sets the tone for that game Arsenal are going to play at the Emirates. It's going to be a big one. Arsenal faithfuls at the Emirates have a very, very big job to do. The fans. And of course, the players also have a great job to do. As to how they're going to turn this around. Arsenal can turn it around. If there's any team that can turn it around, it's Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. And they have experience with Lisbon last season. They have experience with Ruben Amorim's side. They know how these Portuguese sides play, and they'll be waiting to mix them to see if they can turn it around. And I think that Arsenal may be able to turn it around. But let us get into it finally. In with respect to that of Chelsea, and yesterday the team started a very, very good recovery session in there for Chelsea Football Club. A very good recovery session. Now, I've said it the last time that the truth is Chelsea's win of the possible Carabao Cup final will be hinged, like I said yesterday, technical midfield versus a physical midfield. The Liverpool team is more physical. And yesterday, if you watch the Luton game, even at Anfield, Luton were comfortable to go into battles. Likes of Albert Sambile, Gonga, Adebayo, and the likes in the middle of the park, Mengi, they were very, very willing to go into battles. So one of the first things that Chelsea ought to do and have to cite themselves to do in that game against Liverpool over the weekend, the Carabao Cup, is that Liverpool essentially are a physical specimen kind of team. And they have some injuries. There are some young boys that are coming into the team. They are hungry. They want to win games. And they have a lot of hunger in their belly. You would have to show that hunger as well and then match them physically. If you're unable to match Liverpool's physicality, the technical midfield will not triumph. It's a game where Conor Gallagher is going to be very important for everything that Chelsea would have to do for the Carabao Cup win. If Chelsea misfire and don't get against the best out of Conor Gallagher, that's, however, will push Enzo and the Moise Caicedo to cover extra ground. And I did mention yesterday that the absence of Thiago Silva from the team means that the team can play extra higher, and that means that there's going to be less ground covered by Enzo Fernandez and the Moise Caicedo in front of them, which is very good, both on and off the ball, because the team is very high. And if the ball goes in behind with Diaz, Jota, who is out, with Salah, with Cody Gakpo, they can get in behind and try and win those balls, which is important. And it's very, very imperative for everything that Chelsea wants to do. Very imperative in terms of the physical side of the game. They need to get at it. Again, whilst Chelsea are prioritizing physicality, one of the things that's going to be very important is the intensity of the game from the point of view of the spectators at Wembley. And in this case, that's of the Liverpool supporters. They are the kind of vociferous supporters that are going to make things difficult for you when you want to try and win games, when you want to try and force the issue against their team, when their team aren't playing well. They are constantly vocal in trying to turn the tide around for their team. And Chelsea would have to mild the noise. They need to close up the noise in winning those battles. They need to do that very, very well. So much so that the momentum is on their side. That even if the Liverpool fans begin to make extra noise, they are still in there and they have possibilities of winning the game. It is very, very, it's an important game. And I think that it changes the dimension of everything that Chelsea wants to do in terms of winning this trophy and in terms of the project in long term. It's definitely going to help Thomas Tuchel, Mauricio Pochettino, in his bid to stay longer at Chelsea Football Club. And essentially, it's about managing the intensity of the Liverpool game on the field of play, and even that in the stands as well from the fans. And I think it comes more to the physical battles. In yesterday's game, there was Jair Okonsa that played alongside Virgil van Dijk, and you could even see that even the absence of Edu Konate, Jair Okonsa had a lot of physicality. Konate probably was being rested and coming into games, and he's going to be in the next one. One of the things I love, however, I think that can be a defining factor to the game that Chelsea are going to play is that while Chelsea were playing Liverpool, there was no Nicholas Jackson. And in the evening that he had returned from Senegal, he couldn't return from Senegal and everything. There was no Nicholas Jackson. In this game, there's likely to be a Nicholas Jackson. And he's going to be the difference maker, in my opinion. The constant press on Ibu Konate and Virgil van Dijk by himself and Conor Gallagher is going to be very important. Whether he starts out from outside and whatnot. And his hold-up play. Apart from him, Palmer cannot go into attacking physical battles with Konate. Sterling was losing those duels almost every time, and I think that was supposed to be a job. So if you realize, one of the things that Chelsea did a lot of the time was to isolate Sterling and Ibu Konate, because of course Trent, Robo, Bradley, whoever their fullbacks were going to move in here. Now, one of the things that Chelsea wanted to do was to isolate Sterling and Ibu Konate in the wide area. Now, once they did this job, Sterling consistently failed at winning those battles with Ibu Konate. Now, against with Nicholas Jackson, Chelsea know that they have a chance with him. He is much more of a distractor. He's more destructive. He's more dynamic. He's a very good hold-up player. Even if the ball comes from a long ball and what have you, and loves to go into battles, whether ground or physical battles. And it's going to be very important. So the game may be hinged on two or three things that will go into tactical analysis hopefully tomorrow. But these are the things that the game will be hinged on. And looks as if the team is preparing very well for that. This is why we draw the curtain on today's edition of Fiifi-Manfred. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing me. I'm going to see you. So have a nice day. Take care.